Hey everyone, welcome to Darkling Alley. Thanks for joining us for Alan Wake's DLC The Writer. We'll be doing commentary on this gameplay, and we had a lot of fun with it. So let's get started.
Previously on Alan Wake. It's not a lake. It's an ocean. After saving my wife from the mysterious dark presence, I found myself trapped in the dark place.
Imagination can be the enemy here.
A nightmarish world that exists somewhere beyond the shores of our own existence.
We're the one making all this happen.
Just do what Zane tells you.
Follow the signal.
Is all this really coming out of my head?
The dark place is playing tricks on you.
I made my way across its ever-shifting landscape, trying to reach Thomas Zane.
You're trapped in your own nightmares. You're still going deeper.
There you go, Alan. It's all in your head. You've been making it up.
Really, Wake.
You're deluded.
Delusions are out of control.
Get out of my head.
Seriously, Al, you need to get a grip. You know reality's different here. See what I mean, Al?
Ugh, I think I'm stuck on this side.
Well, you're gonna have to find your way out of there. I'll wait. Just remember, you're still in the dark place. You know that, right? I don't want to alarm you, pal, but it's sink or swim time.
Fine.
I could feel the pressure mounting. Barry was right. Time was running out. Everything I saw was a dark, twisted version of reality based on my memories and thoughts.
Yeah, I like how, just cool he was acting. He's like, damn, I'm stuck.
Yeah, just so nonchalant.
Yeah.
I had to accept it. If all of this was from my mind, then I was the one making all this happen. I was literally fighting myself. It was a moment of clarity.
Yeah, I can't remember if I made a comment about that or not from at the beginning of the game on our gameplay, but I'll definitely be doing that soon in a writing analysis. Oh my gosh, for some reason I thought that said surgeries.
Maybe he gives Alan a scalpel.
He's gonna go under the knife in
Yeah.
the dark place. He kind of continues the whole thing, like sort of writing things along the way as he's, he chooses the words and all that, like just from, the same as the signal.
After finishing Departure, I felt finished myself. All I had wanted was to save Alice. After that, a part of me had been ready to just give in and die. But I hadn't given up. Thomas Zane had reached me. I had run across a nightmarish landscape following a signal from him. He kept telling me I was sinking, going too deep. I wasn't sure if he meant the dark place or insanity. Perhaps they were one and the same.
Thompson's probably messing with his head. He's probably telling him to go all these places where it's gonna be terrifying and stuff, and Alan's gonna be like thinking he's losing his mind, but it's really like Tom. I don't know what I'm talking about.
But I'm sure spending any length of time in the dark place would make anyone go insane.
I think it'd be fun. Well, okay, maybe without the taken and stuff. Like, just the environment's cool. And I don't think I'd want the headaches every time there's like a shift.
Mm-hmm.
Like, doesn't it get like stabbing headaches?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah.
That
So
would kind of suck.
yeah, I don't think I'd like that.
No.
But yeah. I wonder. I always say, what's in it for Tom? Why is he there guiding Alan and telling him all this stuff? I think we'll find out. I always want to say we'll find out stuff in part 2, but I don't know. Maybe there will be a part 3, or maybe we'll find out in like Control 2 or future, you know, or maybe even a different IP or something. I'm not sure. I mean, now that they have the Remedy Connected Universe,
Right.
so
Yeah. I'm guessing Zane helping Alan, though, isn't altruistic. I highly doubt.
yeah.
But I'm really glad that Remedy included these DLCs, because it kind of gives you more understanding of everything that's going on.
Hey, nice job, Al. So, you really are nuts, huh? Let's face it, we always knew this was coming.
I guess, but I actually feel pretty rational, all things considered.
Crazy people don't know they're crazy. That's where they're crazy. Hey, check out the light show behind the lodge.
That's Zane's light.
Yeah, you're done sinking now. That means he's just about caught up with you. You better go talk to him.
I just think it's funny how it's like, I guess, but I feel fine.
Yeah.
I feel rational.
Right.
It's like, well, if I'm going insane, okay, maybe that just makes him a better writer.
Yeah. It could
Remember,
be. Yeah.
it takes crazy to know crazy.
It's the sanest thing I've heard.
Yeah, I think that applies to real life too.
I concur.
Lots of
Yeah.
fireworks here.
Who
Nice.
doesn't like fireworks?
Fireworks are awesome.
Play. Music came out all wrong. It attracted the horrors.
I remember that this was cool in the first game.
Yeah.
It's like even just like the slower, tempo or whatever, because it's going really slow. Even that makes a difference.
It does.
It was so perfect in the first game. I know this isn't meant to be like the first game. Things are supposed to be skewed up and wrong and twisted, but it's like, man, ruining the moment
I know.
are one of the best parts of it.
Yeah, that was absolutely my favorite part. Another thing I like about these DLCs is I'm a fan of, post-apocalyptic, dystopian future type stuff. And while I know this isn't that, it still kind of resembles that in a way.
Yeah, exactly. Like the follow-up to the fallout kind of in a way to all the disaster that happened in the first game.
Yeah.
Isn't it kind of ironic that you're a writer and you're threatened by your own imagination? It's like your greatest power turned against you.
Very insightful, Barry.
Melodrama.
Surrounded by enemies and deafened by the noise.
It seems like this part just takes forever.
It does take a while.
get inside now, Al. The big guy busted down the door.
I don't know. Why does he call him the big guy? That's like Santa or like who else do you call the big guy?
Yeah. Thomas Zane's gonna come down your chimney.
God, I hope not. That'd be terrifying.
That'd scare the shit out of me.
Oh my god. Yeah. That's one thing about this. I haven't gone through the DLCs yet to do analysis on, this stuff, the DLC stuff. But, I might. But I think it's mostly all the same. Mm-hmm. It's just kind of a different side to what he was already experiencing.
Right.
I don't think it's much different. Mm-hmm. So, we'll see. Like hiding behind that thing. Yeah. I was not about to let one of those things hit me again. Because when I did the gameplay, those things made me so mad.
Yeah, those things are annoying.
Whoa. See, Al? This is classic you. Always making things complicated.
This is just a memory.
Even your memories are complicated. Yeah. So, I guess you're gonna need to talk to Zane out there now that he's actually here. I'm just gonna, let you non-imaginary people talk in peace.
Oh, it's the breathing again.
Oh, man.
Zane.
You have done well, Alan. Now I can accompany you. You were trapped in your own dream. You must wake yourself up, but first, you have to reach yourself.
The cabin.
My
Yes.
cabin.
It will not be easy. Your previous work can help you. I still have some pages of your manuscript left. Words like that have power.
You want to know what other words have power? Yes, my cabin.
He really wanted Alan to know that.
Right. He has to remind. He's got to keep Alan in his place,
Yeah.
But yeah, he's not breathing as creepily.
No.
Alan, I can only give you the tools you need. You are the one who has to use them. It's very appropriate. I can help you reach it. But after that, you will be on your own. I cannot enter the cabin now. The Dark Presence made sure of that on our last encounter. You are facing yourself, the parts of your mind that are hard to control. This is not a fight anyone else can win for you.
Maybe in a former life, Zane was a therapist or something. Like a really bad one.
Yeah.
Here, take these rocks and figure it out.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go to him.
Okay, that's different.
I was glad to have Zane with me in this place. He knew the terrain, such as it was, but a part of me wondered if he
No,
was even
he is
human.
not.
At
At least, well, I can't say. There's so much I do want to say, but
Yeah.
nah, I think that, like I keep saying, I think we're gonna find out more. But I think that the things that we find out are gonna be way unexpected.
Oh, I think so.
The world was tilted. It was turning upside down. Wake was lost. He would fall.
I'm going to the refrigerator because I want to see what brand it is. I will explain the reason for my refrigerator obsession in the Remedy games soon-ish.
Wake was too high.
Yeah, he is. This is a dark place. Alan's just dropping acid.
Ugh, Alan. Can't be doing that.
Storm was coming. It would throw him off.
See, like, the bed is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It's really easy to get on. So,
Yeah, might as well just...
he should take a
I
nap.
was gonna say.
He's got to be exhausted.
Just curl up, catch some Z's.
All that wind and probably end up falling out of the sky.
Yeah.
Of course. Trying to make me fall down again.
From an expert milker.
What is that little hut thing? Is that like a... It looks like a ticket booth or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
The storm spun around. It was made of darkness. He'd see what it could do. It swept everything away.
I would have to make my way through the swirling madness. It reminded me of the dark presence, just another memory, but it could still kill me.
Oh my gosh. I did. That's awesome. But why am I back here? Do I have to go? What? Okay, well, either we're gonna apologize or take it out.
I thought I had taken this out, but I know I took out all the deaths.
All the deaths. There haven't been that many deaths. You know what it is? It's because they... That, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Alan still can't jump.
Yeah.
Not well, anyway. And they put him up on... Look at where he's at. I mean, they put him in the worst place for, like, the jump mechanics.
Oh, man. He can't run, he can't jump. It's a good thing he's a writer.
Yeah. Yeah, because riders don't ever run and jump.
Yeah.
Ever.
They sit on their ass all day.
What? No, they probably do some jogging. They probably get some exercise.
Yeah.
They go to the gym and probably try to listen in on people's conversations to get ideas for new stories. I mean, that's what happens, right?
Yeah. He jogs from his office to the bathroom.
That's not very far. That doesn't count.
No.
Stay focused on the lighthouse. If you can reach it, you will find the cabin.
Things are getting pretty crazy here, Zane.
It's to be expected. You are struggling to reclaim yourself. The landscape reflects that strain, but each step takes you closer. If you persevere, you can attain the lucidity that fends off the darkness.
And the first game it was Alan that like knew everything about everyone else, and in this, in the DLCs, it's Zane that knows everything about Alan, and what he's supposed to do, and where he's supposed to go, and what's happening to him. So that is like a complete switch around from the first game. So then we have to go ask different questions about the DLCs and why that is. And
now that I knew what I was facing,
theorize.
the environment became even wilder and stranger. Like it was no longer even bothering to pretend that things were normal.
As if theorizing is like uncommon in these games, right? We just have to do what we've been doing ever since Alan Wake came out. Just do the same thing over and over, like the time loop. Go all crazy, right? Because what's that saying? It's like the definition of insanity is like doing the same thing over and over and expecting it to. Yeah.
Yeah, it's essentially what this is.
And unlike our last couple of videos where we did a commentary on commentary, this is we're just like kind of just chilling out and just watching and just doing a little bit of commentary on what's happening, not really analyzing anything, not really going too far into explanations or things. We just got done recording some commentary.
Yeah.
for what, and oh my gosh, we had so much fun.
We did.
It was way too. I don't know how much of our humorous stuff is gonna make it. Some of it might be inappropriate. This is supposed to be a family channel.
That's right. We're family friendly here
It's
at
supposed to be
Darkling
family
Alley.
friendly. Yeah. I don't really mean that. But yeah, so this one's just a little bit different. We're just going through and being spectators and just kind of throwing out little ideas. I think the first time I played this, I just tried jumping down the hole because I didn't see the car.
Yeah.
With the thing that said fireworks, and I was like, "This isn't working."
I know. I tried looking down there
Stupid game.
and like shining my light down.
Yeah.
I was like, why isn't this working?
It's broken.
How?
Yeah. That's what happened because I was not looking. It was my fault. I took the blame. It wasn't Remedy. It was me. See, I'm at least admitting to my mistakes.
Wake was forced to run through a maze, hopelessly sprinting in the wheel, never getting anywhere. His life in miniature. It was useless.
Oh! Now what?
Oh, and coming up, like, this is such a cool part, and I forgot about this, but those typewriter buttons that he has to jump on are really awesome, really sweet and amazing. One of our bestest YouTube followers, Rebecca Sarah. We wanted to say hi to her because she had posted something, remind everyone about how cool that part is. And it really is, because what it spells out his name, right?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, it says like wake. Just wake, yeah. I remember when I first played that, I thought I had to jump in order. But yeah, we have some really, really super awesome and really nice, for a new channel, we've gotten a lot of really nice comments and advice, and we really just want to thank everyone for that, because it's, the advice and like the constructive criticisms, anything is so invaluable and so appreciated. We really want to do Remedy justice on these Alan Wake videos. Not just, we want to have fun, at the same time, And so we just kind of just try to be ourselves and just, you know, joke around and things like that. But we want to make sure that we make good content. And that we make content that people want to see and want to watch, and subjects that people want to have covered. Because, you know, this game has been around for a long time, but let's face it, there's a lot of things that have been unaddressed, you know, that have just gone ignored or have never been pointed out, at least not on YouTube. So that's kind of what we try to focus on, and we're having a lot of fun doing it, and really appreciate everyone that watches and likes and, you know, has been supportive of us. Thank you. You're awesome.
Yeah, we absolutely appreciate you guys, and I want to make really good content that you all enjoy.
Elevator? Next stop, Sanity.
You're doing well. Keep going.
It's hard to make sense of this place.
It's a dream. This is a vast place, home to forces and beings that are completely alien.
The Dark Presence.
Yes. I don't know what happened to it after your final encounter.
Is there any way out of here?
Sometimes transmissions can be sent between worlds. You've done this yourself. But to actually leave the dark place, I haven't found a way.
Stucky's gas station. Not something I particularly wanted to see, but obviously I wasn't the one in the driver's seat.
Another memory made real. Wake would never make it. The insanity he was facing was already a part of it, in him. His own doing. He couldn't possibly win. He didn't even want to.
Okay, so again, the 2010 calendar. This wasn't in the first game, but you can see, I don't know if you can see well, but there's a calendar, pieces of calendar, and it's 2010. When you put the pieces together, it says 2010. If anybody's watching who hasn't seen that video or any of the other videos where we mention that we have videos specifically dedicated to that, and there's some other things in there too, go watch it, because yes, you know, we will explain how we came across it, how we made that determination that every year is 2010, even in the flashbacks, and kind of, you know, like why we think that is.
At least the lighthouse was much closer now. I would have to make my way up there somehow.
I gotta admit, like, it is kind of fun using those words and stuff. I mean, it's one of the few things that are different from the original game, but it's fun. I like it.
Yeah, it's satisfying when you get a blow when
Or like a whole group of them at the same
yeah.
time, like, you know, like you do with the flashbangs. Yeah, like, just like that.
case in point.
Yep. What is up with these guys?
Relentless.
It's as if they were expecting him. Hard launch. I don't know what happened there. Hi, don't even remember that. Just launched straight in there. There's the deer. The only deer thing. The only deer thing for Deer Fest.
Nothing else.
But it always comes around to let you know it's there. Mm-hmm. But even though there's no Deer Fest, there's no deer stuff at Deer Fest, except for that. I mean, it's important. It's an important part of the game.
You would think there'd be more stuff.
More deer stuff?
More deer stuff.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was thinking. Anyone who's seen our gameplay will know I complained about that. Especially at the end, then I explained why it irritated me so much. Like, where's the deer stuff? I don't get the point of Deer Fest if there's no deer things. So, I do talk about it. And if you want to even just jump to the end of our last video in the gameplay, it would be worth it, I think, because what we talk about has a lot to do with what's coming up in the second game. So it's like kind of like some of the predictions that we made, some of the ideas that I had about Deer Fest are, maybe, possibly in line with what the second game contains as far as like, the content or the story, whatever. So jerk. Yeah, he's got to be dreaming because I would die if I got hit by that thing. Mm-hmm. If you were getting hit by like hammers and axes and whatever those hook things that those guys are.
There was no power to the log lift.
You would be dead. Yeah. At some point.
Yeah, after a few times.
But the light heals him though. Most of the time. Sometimes he'll just like kind of like his health will just kind of come back. Mm-hmm. As long as he's not being hit even more. So
yeah.
So don't try that at home. You get like some kids playing Alan Wake. They're like gonna go like reenact Alan Wake the way like, maybe we used to reenact movies when we were kids or something, and so they're reenacting Alan Wake. It's like, who wants to be the taking? Go in their dad's garage, and getting his tools.
Just start throwing hammers at each other.
Exactly.
Just throwing shit.
My parents are like, what are you doing? We're just playing Alan Wake.
Okay, carry on.
They'll probably be asking him that in the hospital.
Yeah.
We have some fake guns that we were going to use for Halloween last year, right?
Yeah.
Well, what we were supposed to be, you were Dr. Darling.
Dr. Darling.
And that was awesome. And I turned out to be, man, I had to be a FBC, what was I? AWE response team.
That's right.
I had a shirt that said, of course I still have it, but.
The part of you that is in control is in the cabin, dreaming and insane.
I don't think I like that.
You represent the part of Alan Wake that is capable of rational thought and planning, which is why I'm talking to you. If that part can regain control, then you have a chance of making it. But a part of you wants to give in. There's comfort in the oblivion of dreams. you represent the part that isn't ready to quit and die.
Wait, are you telling me I'm not real?
You're as real as anything else in this place.
So there are two of me?
Yes.
And the one you called Mr. Scratch, he's me as well?
No.
Zane, are you playing some kind of game with me?
I am not the author of your story.
How can you say that when you wrote that page about me and the clicker? It wasn't one of my pages. You directed me to it. You had Weaver guard it.
Yes, she was needed. And you needed the clicker. But I'm not.
What? I don't understand.
Alan, you should keep going.
Zane? Zane, come on! Well, that cleared things up.
Zane's getting all flustered.
Yeah. Did you notice the way like the lights from like the headlights or any lights were like flashing as he talked, like kind of like to his voice?
Yeah.
That was kind of interesting how they did that, but yeah, that's right. Tom Zane has some explaining to do to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Zane's all talking like a wise man or something, like, you're as real as anything else here. What?
And then he gets stumped.
And then what?
And then Zane gets stumped.
He gets dumped.
Stumped.
Oh, stumped. I was like, what? Is this some new like language or like slang or something I'm not aware of? What is that thing he's on anyway? Is it just like a big pile of stuff, or is it like a... I mean, it looks like it's just made up of a bunch of junk.
Yeah.
Maybe the trash tornado.
Probably.
I mean, they almost make it look like a carnival ride or something with like all those red lights on it and stuff. Like, it's supposed to be fun. Unless you're like... I don't know. How is Alan running up all the stairs?
I know.
He can't run more than 4 seconds, but he's like getting up those stairs just fine.
Yeah, you'd think he'd be tired.
The bridge groaned in the unnatural wind. It was heralding the enemy's arrival. Wake wouldn't leave this place alive.
I like how it just says pump. Like, that could be taken so many different ways.
Yeah, you'd think it would say like gun
Shotgun.
or shotgun or something. Not
Pump. I was always wondered why it takes so long for him to switch things.
Yeah.
You notice that? Like, he could be holding down the open forever before he actually makes a move.
Right.
Some of those guys look like biker dudes or something.
Yeah, they probably are.
I think there's like a lot of people that just a bunch of different types of people that go missing in Bright Falls, or taken or whatever. Not just like the fishermen or the loggers or the townspeople.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot, people from out of town too, like campers and hikers and
Yeah, it's people visiting.
people that win contests.
That's right.
I could never understand why they had that. Is it for a joke?
A moment.
I love how Zane's like, I can't do anything to help you. You gotta do it by yourself. And he's like, hey, hang on, I can help you. It's like, make up your mind, man. Don't tell me stuff.
Yeah, why doesn't he just take that tree to, like, smash the takeout?
How the hell are you doing
Yeah.
that?
You can help.
Yeah, come on, Zane.
It's like learning to control your dreams. There's a connection.
You were in my dream.
Yes, I taught you. You fixed the foolish mistake I made with Barbara.
What exactly did he teach him? I mean, look where Alan is.
He didn't teach him jack shit.
And it's funny how he says, like, he's never found a way out of the dark place. Well, in, like, the story that Alan gets, it's like, it doesn't sound like he was going to ever try to get out. Like, it doesn't sound like his intention. His intention was to write himself out of existence, right? So they didn't say enough, I don't think. They said enough about Zane and his backstory. I believe, from what I heard, the book illuminated, is it, that there's more to it. There's more, like, Zane stuff. Like, he was supposed to have, like, kind of a bigger part. And, more information about him. So maybe we'll get some, more in the future.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. For now, he just doesn't seem to be helping matters.
No.
I don't think so.
No, I
He's just confusing now.
right?
Why did it take him just jump down into the flare? It's like,
Suicide take.
right? Yeah, and it's not just knives that Alan gets thrown at him. It's like furniture and cars and, well, anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would totally be dead. So this is a story. This is Dreamland or whatever. Dream Logic.
Yeah.
Yeah. it makes sense to get hit with furniture and not die in a dream.
Yeah. If you get all that shit thrown at you and you don't die,
It's okay.
yeah.
It makes sense. It's supposed to be that way.
Mm-hmm. I also like how it says flash for the flashbang, because I'd hate for it to be one of the Taken opening up their trench coat.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine if that really happened? Like, that would be like an Alan Wake parody thing.
It would.
Yeah, but on this just now, it said flash for the eye to light up.
Mm-hmm.
The eye of the Kraken or whatever.
Yeah.
Wake ran for the light. It was pointless. He would never reach it. His life would be snuffed out just as easily as the very thing he thought would save him.
Even with the light gone, all I could do was keep going.
This part is so nerve-wracking because, like, he can't jump very well. And when you land, it's like you have to like try to do your best to like make sure he doesn't like veer off into some other direction.
Yeah.
Let's not beat around the bush. You have a lot of problems.
So do you, Hartman.
I do.
Yeah, he's got problems. Oh, there's a light switch again.
Yeah.
Since we're being so frank here, Alan, and let me just reiterate how happy I am that you've had this breakthrough, I would like to summarize your condition.
By all means.
That's like,
And please,
So
just let me
creepy.
know if you think I'm being unfair.
All right.
Well, let's start with the obvious. The car crash. Untreated head trauma. All due respect to Doc Nelson, but he's hardly a neurosurgeon. I think that
I
the
don't think
injury has
Hartman is
affected you
either.
more than you realize.
Yeah, I have had bad headaches.
Then there's your history of substance abuse, which, combined with your chronic insomnia, has resulted in hallucinations and extremely poor impulse control. That's a dangerous combination, one which your wife has unfortunately had to suffer from far more than you.
I know. I know she has.
I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say that you are existing in a state of all-encompassing denial. Your vivid fantasy casts you as a heroic victim and allows you to skirt responsibility for your own actions. It allows you to solve your imaginary problems and dismiss the things that truly trouble you. In your self-serving delusions, your personal problems are assets that allow you to save Alice, perhaps even the world.
Dr. Hartman, I think that's spot on. I can't argue with any of that.
Well, I'm sure I'm stating the obvious. I don't want to labor the point, but, well,
No, I understand. It's important that I face it.
precisely, Alan. You've put so much effort and imagination into this self-deception, but what good has it really done for you? You refused my offer of help, and here you are. Did being so obdurate really get you to a better place?
No.
No. And did it really help Alice? Was this really the best thing for your wife?
Probably not.
Probably not. Why don't we find out? You know, I've been talking with her. There's something she wanted you to hear.
Oh, hey. That sounds like fun.
So, Zane is turning the lights on and off?
Yeah.
All I ever wanted was to help you, Alan. I ate all the shit you handed out and tried to understand your pathetic, wealthy white male drama until my life consisted of managing your never-ending crisis. I hate you for your childish temper and the arrogance and self-indulgent pride that undermine all efforts to drag you out of the hole you insisted on digging for yourself. I hate you for leaving me in the dark with that insane monster bitch. All you had to do was act like a loving human being for once in your life and stay with me. If your dramatic exit hadn't been more important than making sure I was all right, she would never have taken me. I don't know where you went, but that's okay. I don't want to know. I don't think I'll ever be all right. The only thing that keeps me from killing myself is the hope that I'll never see you again.
Ouch.
I just can't argue with that. I think I should stay here before I ruin what life she has left.
I think this is a breakthrough, Alan. I'm really very proud of you.
Yeah, did you notice the light switch cord sound that Zane makes? It, like,
Yep.
it happened when the lights went out, and then it happened when the light turned on at that recorder for him to go, you know, press play so he can hear Alice's message. So, like, but then Zane doesn't come on and say, like, don't believe it, Alan, it's just a trick. Right. You know what I mean? The dark place is doing this to you. It's like, okay, Zane, man, what are you up to?
Yeah.
Dude.
It was nonsense. I knew I'd saved her. I'd succeeded in that, and that was all that mattered. What I heard in there wasn't the truth. It was just another toxic mirage. It cut deep, but that made me all the more determined to force myself to snap out of it. I didn't want to be that guy anymore. I had to make myself see the light.
Oh, he's so bad at jumping. There we go. I think he's just having fun.
I think so.
You know what really pisses me off is, like, when you do that, you know, when you see one of those, like, tools,
Yeah.
you know, and then you shine your light on it, and some of them go flying off of a cliff, and you can't get them.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when I played it. I tried to go back down to get it, but it was lost completely. I was just like, you kidding me?
Yeah, it's like, and then they expect you to go fight Taken, and
Yeah.
you know what I think I did one time just to see? I stayed up there and like I just saw, like, just to see how many Taken would come around, and it just never ended.
Yeah.
Well done. You have come far, but there's still a little further to go. You must take full control of your own mind. Reject all of the fantasies you have constructed.
Yeah, well, I think I can do that. A lot of the stuff I've seen here is personal and ugly as hell. I'll admit it hurts, but it's not fooling me. I know it's fake.
Good. You are aware. The part of you bent on self-destruction is not. But you must be careful. Just because you know the lies for what they are, that doesn't make the danger any less real.
I'll make it. I don't have any choice.
Here. I cannot come any further, but this will help you on your way.
Thanks, I guess.
So, like, is he a therapist?
Yeah.
He's like talking to Alan like what? Like,
Yeah.
He's talking like Hartman.
Hey, let me tell you something, Alan. I know how your mind works. You screw up, then you start analyzing it, and before you know it, you start writing all these horror stories in your head. Don't you?
Come on, I don't do that.
Yes, you do. I know how it goes. You're a complete failure. I hate you and I'll never forgive you for whatever it was that you did. Am I wrong?
Oh, man.
See? I know you. But Alan, it's all in your head. It is. I love you, and I'm not going anywhere.
This part's really cool. And it makes Alan's life a lot easier.
They kept coming. There were too many of them. Hordes and hordes of them, swarming over the landscape, eager to kill. They were coming for Wake, and this time they would get him with sheer numbers.
I like when he says, like, asshole.
Yeah.
You know, like, or tells the TV to shut up.
Yeah.
He does. This is so much different than not doing commentary on our commentary. Like, we actually have to pay attention.
No, I know. I love when that light comes through and just destroys swaths of them.
Yeah.
It's so satisfying.
But think of, like, they used to just be regular people that were probably nice. But it's like, how many of them can there be, right?
Right.
There's like thousands of them, and you know that many people do not live in Bright Falls. That's why I say they're not all townspeople. You know
Yeah.
that for sure. Is I think just the number of taken you've seen in this scene right here, that's probably the whole population of Bright Falls.
Probably. Yeah. I like this.
I want to know where those one guys came from. The ones that are wearing the kind of like skeleton-looking suits, you know? I mean, you know, they're not fishermen or loggers. They have like black pants, black shoes. Like they look like some like fancy like sneakers or something.
Right.
And then they have these shirts on that I couldn't really like make out the details. I never even bothered to try though. I mean, not too hard. But they look like those shirts that have like skeleton, you know, the bones or whatever they would like wear for Halloween.
Yeah.
But I'd like to know who those guys are and where they came from. I mean, they must be out of towners too.
Yeah.
They're probably more campers or something.
Yeah. They might have come from the Halloween store.
Well, they could have. It is Alan Wake.
Yeah.
Anything is possible. Dream logic is awesome. Because you know what? Then you can like chalk everything up to it. You get like in trouble. It was dream logic. It made sense to me at the time.
That's what I'm gonna start saying in real life.
To your boss.
Yeah, it was a much. It was dream logic.
Yeah.
The lighthouse. I was relieved to have made it here, but I wasn't sure what was going to happen now.
Man, I'm like all like ampy from the energy drink. We're drinking energy drinks right now. It's like, what time is it? Oh, it's 4:25 in the morning. And okay, well, all right. Fine, but so yeah, so I'm drinking an energy drink that starts with A and ends with P. And there's only 3 letters. But it tastes good. It's not like the most popular one, but it tastes good.
Yeah, I'm drinking the same one.
Of your own.
Of my own.
We don't share drinks.
No.
Oh, yeah, and see, there's the lodge again. The lodge is always there no matter what. So is Stucky's and, of course, the diner. But, like, outside of the town, the lodge and Stucky's gas station are always there.
Just permanent fixtures.
But I'm pretty sure in the Alan Wake files, Clay Stewart tracks down some pictures. He finds some pictures of the cabin on Cauldron Lake before it, you know, sank into the lake. And there, where Cauldron Lake Lodge was supposed to be, there was like, it was like blacked out. And the same thing when there was another picture taken from the other side, and where Mirror Peak was supposed to be, that's blacked out too. It's just not right. That's falsifying records.
That is, what the hell?
Probably Clay Stewart did it.
Bastard.
Zane had left me. I wasn't sure what the Dark Presence had done to him if he couldn't follow, but from now on, I was on my own. Still, he had gotten me this far. I would never have made it by myself. This thing was going to end. It wouldn't be long now.
I was not ready to return. I had to make sure that Stuckey's was still there and that the Cauldron Lake Lodge was still there. I like this music. We did an ASMR video of...
I was surprised by the change of scenery, but not much. I was starting to understand the symbolism, the way the dark place flowed.
But yeah, it was of that music. The section, The Truth, where Alan has that dream about what happened the night that Alice went missing or got taken or whatever. And we made it into like a 20-minute ASMR. And I think people really like it. It's gotten a lot of views so far, but I love it because it's like this kind of like creepy, ominous music, but there's like this screaming, screams of terror in the background and like these strange noises, but it's relaxing.
It is.
And it's scary. And what's better than that? Relaxing and scary at the same time.
Yeah, you can't get better than that.
Mm-mm. It's the way the world should be.
Mm-hmm.
At least Alan has it figured out.
Yeah.
Don't know what I'm talking about. Like I said, it's okay. Let's see. It's 4:31. I'm like, why are we so lost for words here? It's 4:31 in the morning.
That explains it.
Actually, I'm not feeling too bad.
Yeah.
So, I think it's just because, like, this is, like I said, just a chill video that we're just watching and commenting on, but not going too far into any details or getting too deep into it because, let's face it, doing commentary on Alan Wake videos is so hard because there's so much talking. Mm-hmm. It's either him or someone else or the narrator or Zane. So, yeah. Still fun. I love how I don't know if anyone's seen it yet, but I made my dad play Alan Wake and we did a little video on it. It was so funny. My dad was a really good sport about it, and Alan Wake died a lot. But my dad thought it was funny because my dad's just so cool. He didn't get flustered or what am I supposed to do? Anytime Alan died, he just laughed. He laughed at his own gameplay. So yeah, that's a good one to watch just for fun.
Hey Al, feeling kind of depressed here.
What?
So Zane's your new buddy now. I feel abandoned.
This is ridiculous. You're not even real.
That doesn't mean I don't have any feelings.
So after this, we'll have played all of the Alan Wake games and posted them on YouTube. 'Cause we already have the first one, American Nightmare, the first DLC, and then this one's coming up.
Thing is, you need to get all rational here. Abandon your fantasies, right? Well, I kind of hate to say this, pal, but I'm one.
Fine. You're abandoned. Bye.
What I'm saying is the only way you're getting in that cabin is through me. It's one of those kill your darlings things. But hell, you're used to that, big shot writer. Am I right?
It was even taking a people like you, turning his friends against him. They were all against him.
What does it say about when you're this desperate to keep yourself from getting better? Here we go! I'm earning the 50% commission. It's great that you first make yourself an imaginary friend, and then you can't even get along with that guy. People skills, Al! You're a master! It's great. My job. Most of it is just to make it time to fight. You have all the impulse control. I'm on track. It's speed just because I never know when you're in trouble. You know what kind of people need that? Gangsters and assholes. And you're saving money all the time. Hey, when you throw a hissy fit, right? And because of that, you will
Got me killed a dozen times over.
BFF, Al!
BFF!
Those guys are in pretty good shape.
They are, being old dudes.
Well, I don't think that we're gonna. I think we're gonna be seeing more of them for sure. Alan Wake mentioned them in American Nightmare. I don't think that they would continue talking about certain characters to the extent that they do. I mean, because they get mentioned also in Control.
That's right.
It's totally not. You have to literally pay your best friend to hang out with you because
Certainly has.
And being old gods, that could be something that Alan can use. Something that could be really helpful to him. Is their abilities and their powers.
really running low on patience here. God, you're driving me nuts.
too dark. Where am I? I can't find my way. Why is this happening to me? I can't find my way. It's too dark. Why is this happening to me?
Just like that, my mind was clear. Zane had been right. I could think clearly again. But I couldn't survive in this place the way he had, and I might not make it back a second time. Leaving this place would be hard. Maybe impossible.
Does that clock not have hands anymore?
It wouldn't take much for my thoughts to stray again. It was too easy to get lost in the dark place. Before, I was ready to curl up and die, let myself slip away. But here I was, the yet unwritten future waiting to unfold before me. A sequel to Departure. My name is Alan Wake, and I'm a writer.
So anyway, that is all we have. Thanks everyone for watching. We really appreciate it. It helps the channel a lot. We're really trying so hard to do what we can to grow the channel even a little bit, because we're only focusing on, Remedy stuff right now. So it's a little harder to grow a channel when you're focusing on games from just one developer, but we're doing our best. And, eventually we'll do more stuff after Alan Wake 2 comes out. So probably. I think we're going to have a lot of Alan Wake stuff. Alan Wake 2 is probably going to go on forever. So whatever. Thanks again. And Darkling Alley out.